right now. We're kicking it off. Good to see everybody. I'm here with Roop. There it is, as always, because you know what? This guy knows fantasy football, and I got to have him out here for you. Look, the big game is over. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you wanted to place a bet, this was the place to go because we told you who was going to win. Just like we try to give you guys the best information every week. We knew it was going to be close. And I'm going to brag on myself a little bit. I kind of called the last play of the game there. Maybe a little unintentional. And I don't know if I'd put a bet on that in Vegas or not, but it worked out. Burrow, I said Burrow was going to get sacked on the last play, trying to make a comeback. I suppose technically there was one more play to run out the clock afterwards. But, nice little guess there. We're ready to start the new season. And we're going to talk about last season. We're going to talk about some of the predictions we have. We're going to kind of grade ourselves right now and get you guys prepared for next season. We hope you guys want to be on. Look, if you're on Facebook, there's a link. Click the link. Hit the try me. Come join us. We'll put your little picture right up here next to ours because we want to hear what you have to say. But right now, I want to hear what this man has to say because I value this man's opinion on fantasy football more than anybody else. Mr. Roop, there it is. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I mean, we're one day closer to the football season. That's coming up close. I mean, yeah, sure, it's 6 months away, give or take. I plan to do better with my college picks this year. Maybe we can get a good fun little side bet. We have months to think about it, because I think you're going to be picking along with me, and you're maybe say agree, disagree. And fantasy football, of course, is right around the corner with the season. And I've already started mock drafting, just curiosity before all the rookies come in and everything gets blown out of proportion. But yeah, how are you doing, Mister? I made the correct pick and posted it. It's in writing. I love it. That was like, now you're a dangerous man. You're a dangerous man.
I feel a little dangerous after that. I do. Like it was. I watched it happen, and I was like, wow. It just kind of clicked. Like, maybe I was a lucky guess. That's how it happens. Sometimes, even in fantasy, you get the lucky guess, and that's cool. So it was nice that it worked out that way. But, I'm excited for this next season. I'm ready for the draft already. I'm ready for next season to start. We're going to talk about the players that we're already looking at. But let's talk real quickly. Well, do you want to talk about the game first, or do you want to talk about let's talk about the game first, because the game just happened. Let's talk about the game. It wasn't a perfect game. And I say that from the officiating standpoint. The entire playoffs, even though those games were phenomenal, and it was definitely some of the best games we saw all season, one of the best playoff series we've seen maybe ever, definitely in a long time. And for the Super Bowl to culminate like that was fantastic. But it wasn't without its errors. It wasn't without its flaws. We definitely saw, people complain about Cincinnati, a throw, a whistle. Every game kind of had something that you could complain about official-wise, and the Super Bowl was no different.
I loved how much these playoffs were exciting the entire time. And the Super Bowl held up just as much. And, sure, the score was close, but we got to talk about those flags. You cannot sit there and let them play for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden start calling stuff that should have been called the whole time. I mean, take this away. The officiating crew needs to be consistent. And they need to answer, just like they have little, people after the show and after the game's over. You're talking to all the players. You need to talk to some of those refs. And I know it was his first time being a ref at the NFL biggest game of the season, the Super Bowl. But you know what? You can't miss a face mask like that. Everybody's like, oh, Jalen Ramsey gave up, 160 yards. Like, he gave up 85 yards, sure, which isn't bad, and no touchdowns. So, don't take all these stats for what they actually are. You got to really watch the game. It should have been not as close, but they missed it. They missed another one. They missed one for the Bengals. They missed ones for the Rams. And all of a sudden, you're looking at like the fourth quarter, like, okay, here we go. And then it's flag, flag, flag. Like, they didn't let them play the last few minutes. And so if you're on the Bengals side, you're upset because you've been getting away with it all day and now it's not, and then you end up losing. Well, you shouldn't have been where you were, and it shouldn't even been at that point anyway. So you should have still been losing when the Rams pulled ahead. You still should have been behind. So, you know, I don't know. How did you feel about the flag situation?
I was okay with it. I didn't like the missed face mask, but I mean, it happens. I think it should have been called. It didn't get called, and the reason I didn't have a big problem is because they were letting them play all day. And I agree with you. What bothers me is that the last drive of the game, they decided to start calling penalties, and the holding penalty on the linebacker, that was weak. I was okay with the flag because the play before that was an obvious penalty that they didn't call. So I kind of saw this weak holding penalty as making up for it. I still think the situation should have been the same. I think the Rams should have had their downs renewed based off the penalty, getting that close to the goal line. I think all that should have happened. It just should have happened to play before. And then we wouldn't have had all this controversy about it later. The Jalen Ramsey thing, it's the Super Bowl. I'm okay if he gave up the most yards in any game because he gave it up in the Super Bowl. You're giving it up against the other best team in the entire NFL, and the guy can't do it by himself. So, the face mask thing, that does happen all year, and it gets on everybody's stat sheet. It's just more obvious because it's the Super Bowl and literally everybody was watching it. In a normal week, there's 16 games going on, and so you don't see every play, you don't see every missed call, and so they might not get as much attention. But in this one, of course, everybody's watching one game, one play, and so it's easier to call that out. It shouldn't have been missed, but I agree with you. I think the game was right where it was supposed to be when it, at the end of the game. Jalen Ramsey falls down on that last Cincinnati play, and if Burrow doesn't get sacked, Chase has a walk-in touchdown, and so anything can happen. All these things can happen, but that's what the Super Bowl is. That's what the sport is. It's the Super Bowl. So Jalen Ramsey, or excuse me, Jamar Chase is wide open down the field, but defense wins championships. Donald comes in, essentially wins the game on the play before, also when he makes the tackle on the run. The defense did the job. Both offenses were there to play. I thought it was a great game. Missed calls happen, I guess, and the Super Bowl is no different.
When you say missed calls, like I get it, some of them are missed. When you push somebody out of bounds legally, and then somebody comes and punches you in the face a couple of times, and the ref is standing between you, and you don't throw a flag, that's the ref's fault. And they should have to answer for that because that is not okay. Like, there's a difference between letting them play and a little tug of a shirt. Okay, I get it. Sure, it's a penalty all season long. Super Bowl, it's not. Okay, fine. But when you put your hands in someone's face, that's a problem, and that's a blatant miscall. And I wish they would call those things. It changes the structure of the game. You let them know, like, hey, that's not the kind of game we're playing. Let's not do that. It wasn't like, oops. No, it was like 1, 2, 3. Like, are you kidding me?
It's like you said, it's the consistency. The players got to know what kind of game we're playing. If we're playing a let it play game, then that's fine. Let's let it play the whole game. So it's like you said, when you're not going to call it all game, and then all of a sudden you decide to call it, that's not fair to the players to do that. And I've seen a lot of memes and a lot of suggestions about, refs should be fined. But maybe that's the case. They can lose jobs. I mean, the Cincinnati game with the whistle, that crew was taken out of the playoff rotation for doing that. So there are penalties for these guys, but and maybe there's more severe penalties that we don't know about. We don't know that they didn't get a letter, just like a player does, stating, hey, we saw you do it. We went back and looked at the tape, and now you got to pay a bunch of money. So that could happen to refs. We don't know. But I agree with you. They need to be held accountable. And honestly, for the sake of the fans, I think if there is that kind of stuff going on, it should be a public accountability so that fans know that refs are held accountable. I mean, if they are held accountable, the fans deserve to know that.
The thing is maybe it doesn't have to be throughout the season. Throughout the season they have, somebody buzzes down to the refs from New York, someone sitting in an office somewhere. But
Sure.
I think in the playoffs and especially the Super Bowl, they need to have people up in an office, box office somewhere in the game, watching everything, and then have people in New York and just somebody buzz down and say, "Hey, you missed a call here, you missed a call here, you missed a call here." Sure, it's going to make the game longer, but it needs to be fair. I don't want anything missed. I know I don't want a ton of flags everywhere and that ticky tack shirt pull stuff. Just don't do it. Like, cover your man, turn around when the ball's nearby, and you're good. Like, that's all you need to do. But this getting away with this too much, a little bit of hand fighting is okay. When you put hands around, you got, just that's not okay. And you let it go, and you're like, okay. So what did they do? They did it on the goal line, and it cost them.
Yeah.
Like, they need to have somebody buzzing down. I mean, you got all these people working for you with all this money in the NFL. Put that on the paycheck right there. Boom. Super Bowl. We have 30 people watching cameras. Okay, 4 hours of my life gone by watching cameras. Yeah, I saw something. Buzz down. Boom. Watch the replay. That's what I want. I just want a fair game because I don't care if you're a Rams or a Bengals fan. There was missed calls on both sides. I want the fans to be happy and just call it back. Just that way the fans don't have really anything to complain about except, well, we did lose because it was fair, finally.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Overall, though, I'm happy with the game.
Yeah.
And I think, any game you have, you're going to have something to complain about. So the fact that, if this is the worst that we have to complain about, I guess it could have been, a lot worse. And so I guess I'm just saying I'm glad it wasn't any worse than it was. So I guess I'll take it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it wasn't 48-3 or something. So, it was
Yeah, exactly. If you guys want to be on the show, there's the link to it. It's also on the Facebook page. All you gotta do is click it on the Facebook page. Just put that link in your little bar right there. Hit try mail, and it's free. You're not going to get a bunch of spam or emails or anything like that. You just hit try and go, and you'll pop up here, and we'll put you on the screen. We'd love to have you. Love to answer your questions. Love to have your comments on what you think about the Super Bowl or anything else that we're talking about. Come on down. But overall, so Super Bowl, loved it. I loved the halftime show. A lot of people didn't. There's a lot of jokes about it, under 30s, over 50s, all this kind of stuff. White guys didn't like it either. You can find anything else. You can find all kinds of stuff out there. I thought it was great. I didn't think it was the greatest halftime show. Prince still reigns king to me as far as halftime shows go, but I really did enjoy the halftime show. It was nice. For me, what I really took from the halftime show was nice to get the halftime show back. And they've kind of been working up to it. You had the whole Timberlake, Janet Jackson incident, and then it was all, super G rated, and you had the Wiggles on at halftime show and stuff to make sure nobody got offended. And then we started working it back up, and then they went ahead and let, Gaga come on. They let Shakira come on, and we're kind of working back up into the mainstream guys. And now you bring back the old school, and I think this is going to be this is like the top of the hill, and now we can start getting real halftime shows back because of this. And even if you didn't like the performance, I think for me that's the takeaway. Is now we're starting to get real halftime shows back rather than Zamfir and his pan flute. No offense to Zamfir, but I'm glad to have real halftime shows.
Listen, they were getting it back when Katy Perry came in on a lion. That was phenomenal for me.
Yeah, that was a good one.
There's nothing wrong with this halftime show. It was a mixed bag, and I was okay with it. I said, you know what? There's a lot of talent on that stage, and a lot of years of hard work. So
yeah,
enjoy it. Like, you can't have just the basic every year. You got to have a change up and stuff. There's okay with diversity. I don't know who needs to hear that, but diversity is good. And like, enjoy it. I mean, I was like sitting there like, okay, we're having this person, this person, this person. Next thing I know, I see 50 Cent upside down, and I'm
right,
like, oh,
yeah. Like, I was like, all right, I can do that. That's cool. That's the thing. Like, if you're into that genre of music, you really appreciated what they did. If you're not into that genre of music, maybe you didn't appreciate it. But the thing was, you had a lot of talent. You had a lot of controversial talent up there. You talk about when these folks who are in their prime, the music they made and stuff like that. Very controversial. Eminem, probably stands out more than anybody for bringing on controversy and really not being afraid to speak out. And yet you really didn't have any big moments. You didn't have a Janet Jackson moment with these folks on, and so it again, it kind of restores the faith, hopefully, in the NFL. And they did ask them to not, they asked Dre not to make the cop reference, but I mean, that's the lyric. If you don't want him to say it, don't have him on. You knew what he was going to do.
They were asking him that, 30 years ago. So,
exactly. So, I'm okay with him doing that too, because I mean, that's what performing is. That's what music is. I think music is one of the greatest and oldest forms of free expression, even before we had free speech. Music is just that avenue where you're able to say and do what you want, because if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it. You can listen to something else. It's even more less invasive than the television. Yes, I can turn, but with music, I know if I don't like that artist, I don't listen to that artist. Like anytime he comes on, I change the channel. So I don't have a problem with that either. But I'm glad to have the halftime show back. I thought it was great. Even if you didn't, let us know what you thought about the halftime show. But and then of course the other
Nick says hashtag Rams House. Thanks for showing up, Dakota. Appreciate it. He's running things over there, the Great Union of Sports. Just a little shout out.
I love those guys. I hit them up all the time.
Yes, they're phenomenal. So love you guys. Thanks for the support. But yeah, halftime was good. Enjoyed it. And man, it was Rams House for sure, start to finish. So happy with the outcome. We did call it. So, we ended it on a good note.
We did. And it was nice. Like I said, I don't know, Dakota, if you were here earlier, but, it was nice to see the defense come through. Kupp gets the MVP. We'll visit this and then we'll move on. Kupp gets the MVP. He definitely deserved it. He carried that last drive. He gets that, of course, the touchdown. He's got the season behind him and stuff like that. So I'm not arguing saying that Kupp doesn't deserve the MVP, but I'm saying the defense as a whole deserves it just as much, because that defense, I always say defense wins championships. I'm a defensive guy. And you can always say without the offense, they don't win. Without the defense, they don't win. I get it. It's a team sport. But that defense also really came through. Again, Ramsey falls down. If they don't get the sack, Jamar's on a walk-in touchdown. But the defense did its job, and they didn't lose focus, and they didn't let Burrow make the comeback. And Darnold grabs the running back by the hip, and they come up that so short on the play before, and the defense just really – I saw the defense get better and better and better as the game went on. And in the first half, it really was anybody's game, and you could kind of see the momentum shift in the second half as the Rams defense was really kind of starting to take over. And that's not to take away from the Bengals defense, but you really started to see the Rams defense just kind of uptick it. And after they got that go-ahead score, the Rams defense was not going to be denied. They were not going to let Burrow and company into that end zone.
Well, like Dakota said, the defense was breathing down Burrow's neck the entire second half. I think it's just because, they were just getting tired over there on the offensive line and said, we can't keep up with these guys. You have to play 4 quarters. This isn't, the first. You're not going to win it in the first half. As the second half, if you've been watching the playoffs, that's what's been happening. And you just watched it unfold. Like they're just getting a little closer. And next thing you know, how are you going to get sacked 7 times?
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy to see. And it was really, it wasn't until the second half. I want to say that they only had, and Dakota, you can fact check me on this. I want to say the Rams had 1 sack in the first half, and they got the other 6 in the second half. And so, like you said, you kind of see it wear down. You see the game plan come to work. Honestly, kudos to the Bengals defense for protecting Burrow that much. The Bengals offense for protecting him that much, because that's what everybody was watching. That's the matchup everybody was expecting. Everybody was expecting the Rams defense just to bowl over and that Burrow was going to spend half the game on his back. So honestly, the fact that he only got sacked that many times is kind of amazing. But again, the defense just overpowered and stepped up when they needed to. Dakota says give Stafford his roses too, capped off that final drive passing the ball around and using the field. And you make a great point, Dakota. Stafford is definitely the difference. And if you really want to get into MVPs for the season and stuff, I think for the Rams anyway, Stafford is honestly the guy because, I don't know if Goff can get Kupp the ball that much. I don't know, that Goff keeps them in the situations where the defense can step up. And that's no disrespect to Goff. It's just Stafford's a talented quarterback, and being on the Rams, he got a chance to prove it.
I've been watching Stafford for a long time. 12
Everyone.
years over there, playing Thanksgiving and just getting his just handed to him every Thanksgiving. And you're sitting there watching this guy, and I mean, he plays hard. He plays through injuries. He tricks you a little bit. He's a great quarterback. The moment the trade happened, I was like, Stafford's my pick. I don't care where I get him. I can get him late. Nobody cares about him because they think he's garbage. And next thing I know, Stafford falls to me, and I'm like, yes, this is the one. If I just would have picked up Cooper Kupp, I probably would have won my league. That was the difference. I mean, I lost too many players and injuries, but Stafford is a great quarterback. People don't give him enough credit, and now he has that little check mark next to his name. Super Bowl champ. And some people are like, well, he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame because of one Super Bowl.
Yeah, he should. Yeah, he should. Because the guy came in first year and took him to the Super Bowl. I mean, if Brady did it in Tampa, and he's the GOAT. And yes, he has the previous Super Bowls behind him, playing for Belichick and having all the talent that he had, where Stafford didn't. But if we're going to say, look how great Brady did, he gets to Tampa the year he gets there, he wins the Super Bowl. Look, Stafford did the same thing. So am I going to call Stafford the GOAT? I'm not going that far, folks. But let's give credit where credit is due. Stafford came in and did exactly what he was supposed to do, and got him and those around him a ring. Dakota's still a little salty about having to deal with Goff as long as he did.
Goff.
Hey, Dakota, if you want to get on, just put that link there in your browser, click it. We'd love to have you share it. Anybody else, click the link on the Facebook page, hit the try me. It's all free, and there's no spam to follow, and you can get your little face right next to ours, YACing some football, just like the People's Champion last week. We'd love to have you on. But it's a great segue. You talk about Stafford falling to you. If I could have gotten Kupp, I would have won. Let's talk about that for a second. At the beginning of the year, we made predictions. We got in the numbers. We studied the stats. We got into the analytics, and we came up with our guys that we thought were the top guys that you needed to have. Names like Mahomes, names like Wilson, names like Rodgers. We talk about Prescott putting up good numbers. So let's talk about, I guess, how we did. Allen and Murray, we were both looking at as being top tier guys. Let's check the finish. So we know Josh Allen finishes at top for at the top of the heap, points wise. Herbert right behind him, and you've got Brady after that, because Brady just had that phenomenal first part of the season, and we knew Allen and Herbert were going to perform well. But after that, we got Mahomes, then we got Stafford, Rodgers, Prescott, Burrow. I don't think anybody really saw that coming. Hurts and Murray. So again, the names that we talked about, Mahomes, Rodgers, Prescott, Murray, Allen, all those guys there. So 6 of the top 10 we put in the top tier. We knew Brady was going to be a part of that. So count Brady. I think the only ones that we didn't really look at, the only ones that we really did, we put Stafford a little lower than he finished, and of course nobody saw Burrow coming. We had Hurts in the second tier. So I'm going to give ourselves like a B plus, A minus on that one.
Okay, the only reason why I didn't put Stafford in the top tier is because nobody would believe me, and nobody did.
It's true.
In my league, it's a 2-keeper league, so my 7.7 pick, which was basically my 9th player on my team, was Stafford. That's when I picked him up. 9th round, technically, if you want to say it. So nobody was paying attention. And if I put it up there, no one's going to listen to me. But I believe Stafford was a great pick. and I'm just watching him fall to me and fall to me, fall to everybody's picking all these other guys up. And Stafford, what was number 5 quarterback, some around there?
So, PPR, yeah. I mean, well, you're not going to get a change there, but yeah, number five on the season, 346. Allen had 417, so you got about a 60-point difference there. But still, he's got 15 points on Aaron Rodgers as well. So, he's up there. He's in that first year. He's in the elite numbers. He's putting up those big stats.
Yeah, I actually liked my picks. I did get at least half of them, the quarterbacks in there. You're not going to hit on all of them, and you really
like I said, we got 7 out of 10. I'll take 70%. For
one of my top 5 was Mahomes, Allen, Murray, Wilson, and Rodgers. Murray and Wilson were injured, and Allen and
and Murray still finished top 10.
Yeah,
Murray still finished top 10. So, there's no harm, no foul there. He still finished over 300 points. The top 11 did, with Kirk Cousins being number 11. So, I mean, if you can get 300 points out of your quarterback, you're not mad about that.
I'm looking down because I'm looking at my paper from, what was this, August? And,
Yeah. Back in August is when we started doing it.
My favorite part. No, can you read this?
I cannot.
Okay,
there we go. Sleeper. Joe Burrow. There it is, folks. Joe Burrow. This is why you watch the show.
Right there.
This is why you are my co-host. This is. I told you I respect no one's opinion more than I do yours.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. Yeah, we did. I had Burrow in there, not the same level as you did, but he was definitely there. I think Tannehill and Jackson were the ones we had them in tier 2. Look, tier 1 we had Mahomes, Wilson, Allen, Murray, and Rodgers. All those guys paid off except for Wilson, who just really perplexing me. I won't get into Wilson, but tier 2 we had Prescott, Brady, Tannehill, Jackson, and Tannehill and Jackson were the guys that didn't pay off. Tannehill. What's that?
I want to avoid it. Listen. When we put them here, it's because they're going to have we expect them to have a good season. If you get injured, like Wilson and Murray,
you can't help that.
That's part of the game. So that you can kind of get like an asterisk there, like, okay, we didn't mean to put them there. But anybody who finished the season, I think we hit. So
yeah.
You can leave it at that.
No, we did a great job. And yeah, we are going to brag on ourselves, but I mean, that's the point. We want you guys to have faith in us. So we got to prove to you why you should have faith in us. So we are bragging a little bit here, but we're doing it for your benefit, not ours. Running backs, again, running backs was interesting because you had the injuries. So you had McCaffrey. Everybody's riding McCaffrey. McCaffrey doesn't get injured. He's still a top-tier guy. Henry, he gets injured and stays top-tier guy to like week 13. He goes 5-6 weeks, still is the top guy. So that just tells you how good he was doing. We said Taylor was going to have a good season, and he ended up taking over and having a great season. And there's you're going to have a little discrepancy, a little bounce back and forth, whether you're talking PPR or standard scoring. We like to talk PPR because most people play PPR, but you've got Eckler up there, who we knew was going to have a great year. Najee Harris was my sleeper pick. He was in my top 5. I went ahead and made that call for that, and you didn't know if he was going to be top 5, but you definitely thought he was going to be good. You ended up taking him in the first round. Maybe you were just playing a little cat and mouse there and trying not to let me know exactly where you were going. But what's interesting is when you look at the PPR stats, first of all, we said that there's no more than 3 top tier running backs every year. And we separate that by score. This year, you actually had 2. You had Taylor and Eckler, 373, 343 for fantasy points. You dropped 43 points all the way to 300 with Najee Harris. And then everybody else is under 300. So again, you got 2.5 top tier running backs, which is why everybody takes them early and hopes that they guess right.
Yeah, I wasn't really totally high on Jonathan Taylor at first, and because there was just so much controversy in that backfield, and I don't like.
He had Carson Wentz as the ball general there, so you don't know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, Carson Wentz. Too many people in the backfield. There wasn't. I liked Jonathan Taylor last year. I was just too scared of him this year. There's something strange, and so much news about, they're going to have a rotation and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, don't do that. You have a guy. And I'm like, you're indoors. It's good. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have to avoid him. He's not going to fall to me anyway, considering the places that I was drafting. And he didn't, but whoever got him paid off because he was the number one, which was very surprising, averaging 22 points a game. And that actually is what you want. You can't do a 15 points a game, which we'll get to later. I'm not going to say their name yet, but, I got to leave that for later because it's going to be a surprising name that people want to pick. And, I'm not going to say their team either because that'll definitely give it away.
We're gonna sidebar for just a second because he listened and I got to get him on. Everybody, this is the man right here. Look, a great union of sports. You got to get on your Facebook. You hit the little search bar, hit the Great Union of Sports. Head over there. They're putting out great content every day, and they are a Rams house, so they've got a little bit to brag about. It's Dakota Nix from the Great Union of Sports. How you doing, bud?
Whose house?
The Rams house.
Yes, sir.
This one. We got you. You earned it. You guys got the win. That's fantastic.
What's up, fellas?
Hey,
how are you feeling after your team won? All the bragging. I know your heart was pounding and the excitement.
Oh gosh, and he's got this Sooners flag hanging in the background too. Poor guy. At least, oh god, yeah, I
got all of them back here.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sitting in the living room, boys.
This is fantastic. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt the question.
No, you're fine, man. I took my lengthy victory lap, definitely on the Great Union. Just bombarded that thing with Rams posts for, days.
But I think you've been graceful. You have. I did see that you've called it off, and you said, okay, I've had my fun, and I appreciate it. I think that's still classy because I think you should be allowed to celebrate. You're a fan, and your team won, and you should be able to stand up and say, hey, we did that.
Absolutely, because I honestly, coming out of the NFC, I had the Packers pick because I know if we had to go to Lambeau. No chance. They can't win in Lambeau. They tried earlier in the season, didn't happen, and we had OBJ and Von Miller. I had no confidence if we had to go into Lambeau, but luckily San Fran took care of them for us.
Were you worried if you had to play, or were you worried about the San Fran game?
Man,
just because of what had happened during the season. I know it's hard to beat somebody 3 times, and so that's that probably gives you a little confidence there. It did me as far as picking from the outside. But how did you feel about that?
I just knew that Sean has been dying to get back to this game since he got absolutely destroyed by Belichick back in that game a long time ago, back when Goff, Gurley, all those boys. I just thought there was no way in hell Sean was going to lose that game.
Now, when you get down to the last play, because it did come down to the last drive, not the last play, but the last drive, the entire playoffs have come down to the final drive. We're talking walk-off field goals all the way around. Last plays of the game, running out the clock. When you get the ball last, as a Rams fan, did you know you had it, or did you just know you had a chance?
Are we talking about the Super Bowl?
No, the playoff against San Francisco.
The one against San Francisco, man, that they have given us so many problems. I was just hoping for the best at that point because I knew that game was going to be a dogfight, and I was screaming in my living room by the end of that one.
That long play to Cooper Kupp blew my mind. Yeah. Like, if you're going to throw the ball to anybody, it's going to be Cooper Kupp. You knew Cooper Kupp was going to get the ball, and they still don't defeat it. I'm sorry, Rube, there it is. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I have certain teams. Like, I play fantasy too much, so I love everybody. So it wrecks my I love this team little bubble. And I'm over here in the playoffs like, I'll watch the game. It's fine. Whoever wins was in. And next thing I know, fourth quarter, I'm sitting there screaming at my TV like, go, go. The other team comes in. I'm like, yeah, score. Next thing I know, I'm losing my voice. These aren't even my teams. I don't care.
I know.
And that was the playoffs for me. I was so excited. And I'm like,
every game was like that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe I was like, I've been watching football for a long time. Fantasy less than that. And I'm like, yeah, I want more of this. And these playoffs played dividends tenfold. It was phenomenal. I've never screamed that much in games I didn't care about. But
It was just such great
and
playoffs.
and I know some 49ers fans are upset, but they
To hell
went
with them.
further than I thought they would. I didn't think they would go that far. I wouldn't have bet on them, and I would, I don't think they should have been at that position really. But hats off to them. Are they going to trade to get somebody else? Maybe they'll trade to get Stafford or something.
The 49ers?
Yeah, the 49ers.
Trying to get Stafford. I like how you threw that in there. Not to Stafford ain't going nowhere.
I hope that man retires in Los Angeles, but we'll see
I
how
kind
that
of do
goes.
too. Yeah, maybe not this year. I'd like to see him defend the title, but let's.
I think the only one I don't want to wind up in San Francisco is Aaron Rodgers because I don't want that guy in the division.
What do you think about all the talk? Believe me, I put no faith in this, but there's all the talk about Tom Brady coming and going one more year in San Francisco.
No, yeah. I think he's done.
I do too. So we're talking about while you were over there looking for the code and stuff to get in, we were talking about our predictions at the beginning of the season, who we thought was going to be there and who wasn't, versus who actually finished there. Quarterbacks, we did pretty well. You play a lot of fantasy. How do you feel at the quarterback position? And we're going position by position, but how do you feel it played out expectation? Because quarterback is that position where you're always going to lose a couple in the first 5 rounds, but really after those top 5, 6 guys, quarterbacks really start going around 7, round 8. And then you see this big influx, 7, 8, 9 of quarterbacks get off the board. And this year you had Mahomes going early, you had Allen going early, you had Brady going early, you had Murray going early. All those guys did finish in the top 10. So is that something, are we going to be able to continue to predict the top couple quarterbacks?
I think it's tough just because it depends on scoring format as well. More often than not, the difference between 1 to 12 is not a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, how often does the number 1 guy drafted end up at QB1?
Yeah. And I know most of the leagues I saw this year was Mahomes was QB1, and he did finish in the top 3, I think it was. So he was there. He didn't disappoint owners. There were a couple weeks he disappointed owners, but overall he didn't disappoint owners. Number 4.
Dakota, where do you take quarterbacks?
So it differed from league to league. So I played in the OSO league where we had the 2 quarterbacks. I took Herbert in the 3rd, and I took my second one? I took Justin Herbert in the 3rd.
Herbert finishes 2nd in fantasy points.
That one worked for me. The second one didn't work. I can't remember who. I think it was Carson Wentz. I think I took Carson Wentz in the 5th.
Yeah, they threw a flyer out. You never know what you're going to get. He definitely had a couple weeks. We had a few weeks. We were definitely recommending him based on matchups. He definitely put up some numbers for a couple weeks, but Josh Taylor just ramming all down people's throat.
A 5th round quarterback is not unheard of. So
yeah,
the good ones, people were taking quarterbacks in round 1. On
definitely saw that.
So you can. By the 5th round, there are a lot of quarterbacks gone.
Who's the top quarterback this season? Who's the first guy off the board?
In the next season?
Yeah, this upcoming season. We are officially here at YACing Football. We are in the next season. The Super Bowl is done. Yeah. We have started the next season. We are going. Who's going to be the first quarterback taken?
All right,
Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen. Okay, you got me.
That's who I have on the board. I mean, I've still got right now. I mean, look, we're way too early, and we'll call all these way too early stats, just like everybody else does. Way too early picks. I think Josh Allen is there. I think Mahomes is still there.
Herbert.
Herbert is definitely still there. Depending on what happens with Rodgers, depending on what team he goes to, I think he's still going to be up there. But he's going to get taken later because just like this year, just like every year, he always gets taken later, even though he always proves himself to be in the top 5. Does Stafford crack the top 5? Andy has Cup, Andy has OBJ, Andy has.
Assuming he has OBJ, that's not for sure yet. I hope he does.
As of today. So again, we're in the way too early stage, so we can go as of today.
Absolutely. Man, can you imagine Cup, Woods, and OBJ for an entire season? My God.
Jesus.
Yeah, thanks, Woods.
Yeah, man. Like, can you imagine if the Rams had Woods and Higbee in that game, and OBJ for the entire
It'd been
game?
over.
I wish Rams had Woods, period, because I definitely drafted him ahead of Cooper Kupp. Oops, that was a bad mistake because nobody saw that crap coming.
I wish Woods would have got hurt preseason. Then I would have.
Yeah, thank you. That would have been helpful.
Because it was a safe pick. That's why I picked him, and he ruined my seasons. I would have picked Kupp.
I want to know. I want to meet the guy who legit had Kupp first, and then I want to know why. It's not there. That person's not there. Nobody had. But you see that every year. You have those breakout players. Jonathan Taylor, we were just talking about before you came on the show.
That guy.
Number one by default because you lose Henry. Honestly, Dobbins wasn't there. I don't think Dobbins competes for the top because he's got Jackson with the ball. But you've got guys that were hurt. C-Mac, of course, gets hurt, who has finished number one like the past 4 years. I think it is. So without C-Mac, without Henry, it was anybody's game, and Taylor took advantage of it. Again, no more than top three top tier running backs every year. This year you had Taylor and Eckler, and you can count Najee Harris because he was over 300 points, but still 43 points behind Eckler in PPR. So McCaffrey might get traded. Does Taylor hold his status? Does Henry become the number one pick? Is Eckler going to get it because of the PPR? Does Najee get it because of the PPR? Where are we looking at running back for who's going to be the top guy next year? Not that you can literally ever predict that without C-Mac in the game.
If I'm sitting at 1-1 next season, I'm taking Jonathan Taylor.
Group, there it is.
Because to me, I think the mileage is finally starting to catch up to Derrick Henry because they give that dude the ball a lot. A lot.
Injuries are hard to bounce back from running back, right? I mean, you look at the history. AP, number one running back, multiple years running, gets hurt, can't get back. He's still playing, but you see it with. I mean, you can go back as far as Davis. You can go with Denver. You can go back to the Atlanta Falcons. You can go back to. You pick the team, pick the running back. Once they got hurt, you don't see a lot of guys bounce back to the top position again.
Lower body injuries with running backs too.
Yeah, like running back. The reason why I go running back heavy is because I know they get injured a lot. But if you can get your bell cow back, that's the guy you want. I do like Jonathan Taylor just because he's indoors all the time. But I want to say Najee Harris, but quarterback situation.
The quarterback situation.
Some rookie in there just dropping down to him 19 times in a game. Thanks for that, by the way. I'd probably lean toward Austin Eckler because he's having a strong couple of seasons. He's in the mix. He's got the indoors. He's got a young quarterback, great wide receiver core. Defense is solid. I think overall he's got kind of what it takes. And the best part about it is you don't have 1.1. You don't have to have that pick to get him. He's going to be in that middle round. So I still like him. If he can fall to me, I'll take him. I mean, he finished, second this year? So yeah. I don't see him falling off that much. He is the bell cows. You know what? I'm going to get into it now. Okay, America's team, Ezekiel Elliott. Okay, he was first round pick all the time.
Number 7 this year. Number 7.
Yeah, he's number 7. But you know what? His backup, Tony Pollard, got half the points he did, which means Ezekiel Elliott is not the bell cow back. So you go ahead and invite some rookie to your league. Let him take Ezekiel Elliott because he's a Cowboys fan. Let him. But
Pollard actually finishes 28th, so it's amazing because you're right. Pollard does get a ton of balls, so it's amazing he finishes that far back. But I hear you about Ezekiel.
Like somebody's going to take Zeke in first round, maybe second
every year.
I'm not.
Won't be me.
Yeah, Like it's not like this. Like I know people know this, but if you're a fan of a team, the Niners, the Cowboys, the Rams, unless it's Cup, okay, I get it. But you do not have to pick players from that team. That can get you into a lot of trouble. But you don't.
You draft up here. You don't draft here.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, and you have to do that. And I mean, Austin Eckler's kind
What?
of like a dick, just because he does. Okay, he did get one touchdown because the team pushed him into the end zone, which was great for fantasy purposes. Not great because I was playing him that game, but he's going to get the catches, he's going to get the check downs, he's going to get the runs, and he's good, and he's got a great team around him. So
here's the interesting part, and this is what we're definitely going to be talking about come draft time. Of your top, I'll go top 6. Well, I'll throw 7 in there because it's Ezekiel, right? Of your top 7 running backs: Jonathan Taylor, Eckler, Harris, Mixon, Connor, Fournette, and Elliott. Eckler, Mixon, and Elliott are the only ones who have their quarterback coming back. Wow. Taylor's going to have a new quarterback. Najee's going to have a new quarterback. Connor possibly could have a new quarterback. Connor's not certain yet. And of course, Fournette is going to have a new quarterback. So there's going to be a lot of quarterback changeover, and that could definitely, translate to these guys at the running back position. So it's going to be interesting. But moving on to wide receiver, of course, we had Kupp, and I found the page. We actually ranked Kupp. Let me pull this up. So I want to be accurate here for you guys. We actually had Kupp. Oh no, I marked the page and I lost it. We had Kupp at in the 5th round, and we were saying, he was going in the 3rd round, and we were saying that he should probably be going closer to the 5th round. We were saying 3rd round was a little high, and that's just depending on how your draft went. So obviously he finishes number 1. Devontae Adams finishes number 2. We're talking PPR, we always do at yards after the catch. Welcome to talk standard if you want to. But
does anybody play standard anymore?
Say again.
Does anybody play standard anymore?
It's out there, and you know what? People that are learning, I think, play standard, and that's fine. Standard, it goes Kupp, Samuel, Chase, Jefferson, Adams. But when we get into PPR, it's Kupp, Adams, Samuel, Jefferson, Chase. So same 5 guys, just different order. So you can nitpick if you want to how that goes, but we just always talk PPR here. But we got Cooper Kupp; he's solid. Can he do it again? Defenses know about him now. Are they going to game plan for him all year? Devontae Adams, will he have Rodgers back? Does he do the same thing? Samuel, the same thing. Will they have Garoppolo back? I honestly think a lot of 49ers fans are hoping not. But can teams game plan for Samuels now? Justin Jefferson, they got a new coach. Don't even know if Cousins will technically still be there, although the coach right now is saying that he loves him and wants to use him. And Jamar Chase, of course, is Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase, honestly, has a real legit chance of being at the top of the league next year.
Dude is a monster. After watching him in the Super Bowl, my God.
Disgusting what that guy can do.
That guy is – listen, I know a lot of those touchdowns were 75 yards, throughout the season, a busted coverage or just flat out burned somebody. But they weren't giving him respect. That happens to a lot of rookies. But I still think he's got a great chance to be at the top. I'm sure. I'm betting that Jamar Chase is going to be off the board probably first round.
First round, very early second round. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm not going to hate on it, especially when you get the stack with Burrow. Gets healthy with his knee. Why did both quarterbacks get their knee injured? Not to go back to the Super Bowl. My God, why?
I know, but they both come back. I mean, that's fantastic. You got Tyreek Hill at 6, Stephon Diggs at 7, Deontay Johnson probably won't be up there at 8 based on the quarterback. Mike Evans is interesting because it doesn't matter what quarterback he has. He seems to finish in the top 10. And a surprise at number 10 is Hunter Renfrow, followed 11 and 12. I bring them up because they're on the same team, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Mike Williams, what a big surprise. But fantastic. We actually did call that here on yards after the catch and rode him all season long. Will Hunter Renfrow repeat? New coach. Mike Evans doesn't have Brady anymore. Of course, Deontay Johnson, they're definitely rebuilding right now. Stephon Diggs, I think you can count on. I think he's top 3. Tyreek Hill, is that guy ever going to slow down? I don't see a lot of change in the top 10 or so.
Can't slow down when you're that fast.
Yeah, I'm telling you. If you do slow down, you're still faster than everybody else.
Yeah, when you go to okay, listen, when you talk about Tyreek Hill, he's going to slow down. Well, it's not about slowing down. And I know this is going to go in a little bit of the stock going up that we have a conversation coming up on. But Jamar Chase scored more points than Tyreek Hill, and it was Jamar Chase's rookie season.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. And Tyreek Hill probably went first or second round. Now Jamar Chase beat him in points. Sure, it was by like 9 or whatever, depending on how your league went. But that's what we're looking at from a rookie standpoint. And they always say the sophomore slump. I don't think the Bengals are going anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals are back in the Super Bowl. There's nothing wrong with that team, and they are young. So Jamar
Quarterback's
Chase is
cold.
Well, let's check the division on that. So, you got Pittsburgh who's going to have a new quarterback. So, probably not, necessarily, contenders next year unless just something crazy. Have a great team around this new quarterback, but even Ben Roethlisberger couldn't get him going. You've got Baltimore is going to be injury dependent. Baltimore is going to be the big surprise, the underdog, the sleeper, because they should have Dobbins back. Of course, Jackson's going to be healthy. Baltimore is definitely going to be a team you're going to want to watch.
What about Marquise Brown? They're going to go. Is that real? Is he going to go play for games? Is that?
I don't know. I'm trying to find out if that's like an actual real thing, and I can't even find out yet. Like I'm still trying to find out if that's actually
I could go play games for over $12 million a year. See ya.
Yeah.
Why am I going to work Monday through Friday when I could go play video games at home during the evenings and make more than a football player? I don't know if it's true or not. The sources are weird, but I'm all for it. Go.
And then you've got Cleveland, which unfortunately Cleveland is now back to dumpster fire status, which I think is a little unfair because, again, it's their fault for losing OBJ, but they lost their elite receiver. Baker Mayfield was playing with everything hurt all year. Guy's got a lot of heart, but you can't have a lot of skill when you're that sore walking on the field every game. So I think they kind of get a bad rap, but can you say even at full strength that Cleveland is better than Baltimore or Cincinnati next year?
I know Baker's going to be the $6 million man next season. That's all I know.
All bionic, the whole thing.
To put him back together, my goodness.
Yeah, Baker got beat up and played through it, and you're right. He does have a lot of heart. He has a lot of drive. A lot of people. Somebody said that it was the quarterback and stuff like that. I'm like, listen, you can't play hurt and expect to be perfect. But OBJ changed his number and it was fine. I'm saying Cleveland is a good team. Baker's a great quarterback. Just needs some.
Mayfield's numbers were horrible though. Mayfield, I mean, you cannot argue. You cannot. I mean, Mayfield's numbers are horrible.
I will not. He's one of my favorite players. I won't draft him. They're on a run first team, so I'm avoiding that at all costs. Their run game is too elite to even pick a wide receiver or a quarterback at this point.
So, I don't know why they throw the ball.
You know who got sacked the most in the NFL last year?
Baker Mayfield.
Joe Burrow.
Or Joe 51. Burrow. Yeah.
Tannenhill second. Zach Wilson third. Hey, you play for the Jets. What do you want? And then Baker Mayfield fourth at 43. But 43 sacks in a year, and the guy still only threw 13 interceptions. Both Burrow and Tannehill had more than that at 14, which is just one more. I got it. But to Mayfield still goes for over 3,000 yards. Mayfield, 253 pass attempts, which isn't a lot. And that's where you start getting the controversy, is that he threw half as much. Well, he threw a third less than the other guys with one less interception. But when you're getting sacked 43 times a season, for Joe Burrow to make it to the Super Bowl, get sacked 51 times in the season, that's asking a lot of somebody.
How many games did Baker miss? 2?
I want to say it was 2. I just clicked off it. I'm sorry.
That's like almost getting sacked like every quarter. Like those numbers.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Mayfield goes 14 games this season, so he misses 3 total.
3 of them. Okay, yeah. Add a game this year.
Yeah,
Crazy.
and still throws for 3,000 yards. I mean, a little bit of respect here for that. Gets sacked 43 times, misses 3 games, still goes over 3,000 yards. The potential is there, but I don't think. I think a lot of work needs to happen as usual for that team. I'm just not going to put all the blame on Baker Mayfield just yet. Then you got the tight ends, of course. We don't spend a lot of time on tight ends because obviously there's really only a couple names there at the top, as there is every year, and that's why some people will go ahead and grab those guys. We knew Mark Andrews was going to be top. We called Mark Andrews being the top yards after the catch. We were there. We said Mark Andrews would be there with Travis Kelce, and he was. Dalton Schultz kind of comes out of nowhere. Kittle, I think, is the biggest surprise because at no point during the season did I think Kittle was running in the top 5 at tight ends, but he finishes at number 4. That's amazing to me. Zach Ertz, number 5, and Kyle Pitts still finishes number 6. Again, would not have said he was at number 6 if you asked me without looking.
And it's on my list. This is from, what is it right there? Yeah,
there it is.
Kittle, Waller, Andrews, Pitts. They're there. We said that in August. But
Waller, obviously, the biggest disappointment, but again, not his fault.
I don't even start on Waller. I took him way too early.
Yeah, you did.
In Dakota and I's league, I took him in the 2nd round, and it hurt a lot. I was like, well, what do I do here? I didn't like where I was picking, even though I got to pick 2, but it hurt just watching everything. I mean, I didn't pick Sony Michel early, but there's that.
Well, we had top 5 being Kelce, Kittle, Waller, Andrews, Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts actually finishes 2nd, so and then Waller gets the injury, so not bad for yards after the catch on tight end.
If Waller had the season he had the year before, I have 4 or 5.
He was doing great until he got hurt.
Yeah. So listen, he got injured, which made Hunter Renfrow look great, but Hunter Renfrow is like baby Cooper Kupp's little brother or something, and no one's giving him that respect.
Little monster, man.
He's going to get those, if everything stays the same, of course, over there in the Raiderville. But I'm just saying, don't sleep on Renfrow next year. They got something going on. And when he was number 1, when he was number 2 behind Waller, he was still doing decent. He's that no name, nobody's paying attention to, late round pick. That's a great filler for a bye week. And I actually had him, and he actually filled in very nicely. But he was also wide receiver 1 because Waller was out. Thanks, Waller.
I think Kittle would actually be if you look at Kittle probably on a per game basis. I bet his numbers are nuts because he missed a lot of time this year, didn't he?
He missed 3 games. Yeah, he still finishes at tight end number 4 PPR. He's got where'd it go? Just lost it. 910 yards. So he gets 1,000 if he doesn't miss those games. 71 receptions. I mean, the guy, like you said, monster year, 6 touchdowns. Which you've got a few guys at 9. You've got Knox and Henry and Andrews and Kelce at 9. You've got Schultz at 8. But I mean, that's up there in the mix as far as touchdowns. Again, playing on 3 less games. Pitts finishes number 6 because of his yardage. He only had 1 touchdown receiving. He just had over 1,000 yards.
That's because Deebo Samuel came out of nowhere and decided to just hog the ball.
Yeah, best football player on planet Earth.
Right? What's that guy doing?
A couple years ago, and then all of a sudden, I had him then, and then he just starts destroying me when I'm playing other teams. That's the worst part about playing in multiple leagues. Those guys that fucked you years ago are now hitting you.
Ezekiel,
I got to get this win to make the playoffs. Boom. Yeah. You can drive in the end zone. So it's you do what you can, but I mean, really, Deebo, would he finish 3rd as a wide receiver?
How did he do that?
He was, where was he?
The guy had, look, let me look at something real quick.
Deebo Samuel was added week 3 in one of my leagues. Let's put it that way. Think about
that.
That's
absurd.
And he's ended up number 3. So
Deebo Samuel has 1,400 yards receiving. That's receiving. He still has another 365 yards rushing. You know how many rushing touchdowns he had?
I don't know, 6 probably?
8.
I was going to say 9. Oh, okay, there we go.
Rushing touchdowns.
Well, you don't get both showcases because you went over, so.
Goodness.
Wrong show.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, Deebo Samuel wasn't even drafted Number 3. Think about that when you're drafting. Like, I got this. This is my team.
8.
Yeah. Somebody is going to get into a lineup that wasn't drafted that's going to do something like that next year. Those are the people.
8 touchdowns puts him at number 9 on the running back list for touchdowns.
Good.
On the running back list, he breaks the top 10 for touchdowns as a receiver. That's come on. What are you doing? Fantastic. So, so let's talk about Debo real quick before we move on. I want to talk super fast because should Debo be listed as running back and wide receiver next year? Because we don't know what the game plan is going to be. We don't know if he's going to get used as that. Okay, so yes, and then what's that?
Cordell Patterson is listed as both.
Right. I hear you.
As well.
They should just make their position flex.
So then does Debo make your top 10 playing in both positions? Does he make the top 10 and which top 10? Top 10 receivers, top 10 running backs on your list this year?
Probably definitely a top 10 receiver just because of the rushing aspect. Like no other receiver is getting rushing touches like that, I guess.
Kind of double dipping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of double dipping. I could go for that. I mean, 355 points? Okay, it's hard to fall off. But I'm going to say he's not going to be top 10.
He's number 5 in receiving yards as well.
He's not going to be top 10. I'm afraid.
Are you saying like where he finishes or where he gets drafted?
Are you talking to me or no? He finished top 5 for receiving yards.
Yeah. So are we saying like are we asking like where's he gonna get drafted next season?
Yeah. Well, I'm asking more about your list. So when you're compiling your way too early list right now, is Debo Samuel's in your top 10?
I'm just gonna go based off my home league that I won. Based on the way they draft, I don't think Debo makes it out of the second round in my league.
Yeah, I know. I can see that.
No wonder you won. That didn't count.
Well, I mean, let's look at the numbers here. Look, Kupp is definitely probably your first receiver off the board. Understandably, Chase is the other argument there. So you got Kupp going 1 and 2 most likely.
Right.
You got to worry about Adams and his quarterback. You got to worry about Jefferson and his quarterback. You got Tyreek Hill. He's probably in the conversation. Stephon Diggs is probably in the conversation. And then, you're reaching. You got Lockett. You got – oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. I got to reorganize my list. I'm on touchdowns. Diggs is in the conversation. Deontay Johnson's probably not in the conversation anymore. Mike Evans probably not in the conversation. Maybe top 10. Hunter Renfrow is probably in the conversation. You got Allen, you got Williams, all those guys are in there. And then you start getting into definite second-tier guys like Waddle, DK Metcalf, who you got to worry about, again, with the quarterback situation. Pittman Jr., DJ Moore, C.D. Lamb, Brandon Cooks, all these guys that were bargains for people, Chris Godwin. But so the top 10, just looking at the list from this year, honestly, I think the top 10 is really kind of widely separated. The top 10 guys are going to be widely separated from 11 on down.
Debo's not top 10.
I just don't know with the list who else you put there in the top 10. Kupp is there. Chase is there. Like I said, Hill is there. Diggs is there. So that's 4. So then where do you go after that? Evans without Rodgers, is he still going to be there? Jefferson, do they keep Cousins? Deontay Johnson, I don't think is there anymore. Evans, is he still there? You already put Renfrow there. That's 5. You've got Allen and Williams. So of the top 12 guys, you've got at least 3 guys that are not going to be in the top 10. That kind of puts Debo there by default.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, I believe, will be top 10.
That's a bold prediction. We should write that down. We'll see what happens when it comes around.
I can see that, though. He had a ton of chemistry with Goff.
Like, that was fun. Like,
you said it. The name, he who shall not be named. It was
Old
said.
Jared.
I mean,
hey, the guy had 90 receptions. 90 receptions. That's That's a lot of receptions. He pulled off 912 yards, so he's going over 10 yards of reception. Just couldn't get in the end zone that often. Still had 5, which is respectable. But that he finished 21 this year. He's definitely a guy on the rise. No argument there.
Yeah. Okay. Besides, yeah. Okay. So I went to the next page over just to throw out some names that are like not even top.
So as we're transitioning here, we're kind of transitioning into guys' stock who is rising. So we're going to say Amon St. Brown's stock is rising. You've kind of called out the first one, so we'll make that transition and kind of
that
continue.
really wasn't on my list of stock rises. I only did a short list because I wanted to kind of feed off of what you had as well. I'm trying to pick somebody different. And I guess I'll stick with a wide receiver right now because
we can do that.
Quarterback for later. But Terry McLaurin, I think, can move up a little bit.
Terry.
Terry, I feel like
25 this year
was 28th in the league. Why would you like? I mean, I know CD Lamb's going to be up there too. And Dak's healthy. I mean, even AJ Brown. Look, listen, Tennessee was number 1 seed, and AJ Brown's ranked 32 wide receiver. That just can't happen. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know how they
got as far as they did because they really didn't have a top receiver, and it was amazing to see that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm really disappointed in Devonta Smith this season. What else we got? Chase.
I think, like you said, I back you up with Hunter Renfrow. I think his stock is on the rise. If they can keep it going again, new coach. So we'll see. I kind of like, and this is, I don't think you would call it a sleeper, but he's definitely second tier. But I think his stock is on the rise. I think Pittman Jr. Michael Pittman Jr. has kind of become the new guy in Indianapolis. Of course, we're going to have a quarterback situation there as well, with Wentz probably being gone. So it's going to depend on who goes in there. But I mean, let's say they pull a Wilson. Let's say Murray leaves and they can pull a Murray. If they can get even a Kirk Cousins, should he get booted out of Minnesota, that could be a good thing for someone like Pittman Jr.
Dakota, who do you think stock is going up? Like what player, any position?
Oh, and Daryl Mooney. People know about Daryl Mooney now. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I got to put it out there. I said Daryl Mooney at the beginning of last year. Still finishes in that fiasco. Still finishes at 23rd. 81 catches, over 1,000 yards. I think as they get Fields to settle down, I think Mooney is definitely on the rise.
Quiet 1,000 yards, but yeah.
Go
ahead, Dakota. Give me a new name that I haven't heard before.
The other one I was looking at our fantasy stats from last season in my league. And you guys probably mentioned Jalen Waddle, but I think he's going to have a much better year next season.
It's going to depend on the coaching change, right? So you've got another coaching change situation there. So there's going to be a new philosophy. Are they going to run more? Are they going to throw more? Does old boy stop taking days off, pretending to be hurt? Do they go ahead and trade him? I don't know. I agree. I think Waddle probably is the man there. It's just going to depend on the coaching philosophy. But stock on the rise, that's a fair answer. I can jump on board with that for sure.
You want to hear my stock on the rise?
I do. Always.
The quarterback. I know you guys are going to hate this, but listen, we're going.
I hate it already. When you lead with that, I already hate it.
You're already writing stuff down. I know it. But it's Zach Wilson with the Jets.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I hate it.
You hate it.
I hate it.
The Jets have 2 picks in the draft, top 10. 2 picks. They have 4 picks in the top 40.
Well, don't you think they go defense, though? Well, okay, top 40,
defense,
yeah, maybe.
They have a good defense. Jets are a decent defense.
Well, they do. They've got a decent deal. Maybe a player here and there, but I hear you.
If I was the Jets, if I was the GM, whatever you want to call it, anybody picking any part of it, I'm saying offensive line or offensive help of some sort, and then maybe take those later rounds and get some defensive guy. But the defense is okay. Deep sleeper. I'm thinking of drafting. Like, listen, Dakota, don't want.
Okay, now you've gone too far.
QB 30 in my home league last year. QB 30.
Oh, we got a little static, but I'm gonna say Zach Wilson will definitely win more games than the Denver Broncos.
Somebody write this down.
That
Yeah,
depends on who they end up with too.
I mean, what if Rodgers goes to the Broncos? You still gonna keep that?
Nope.
Nope. At least he's honest. You're gonna get honesty in yards after the catch, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you're always gonna get. Unadulterated honesty. Let's talk about picks that you're not gonna like. And again, this is stock on the rise. I'm not necessarily even putting him in the top 10. Finishes 22 this year. Trevor Lawrence. Like, I don't see how the guy doesn't benefit from the coaching change. I think they have a good team. They have a defense that can perform. He's got players around him, and now that he has a new coach, I mean, it can't get worse, right? So I got to put Trevor Lawrence's stock on the rise, and maybe worth a QB2 look on that.
Yeah, when you look at, listen, I know we're making bold.
It's way too soon. It's way too soon. Remember, folks, this is way too soon predictions. Come make yours. Throw your hat in the ring, because this is your chance to say what you want to say.
When we talk about the differences between a quarterback now, we're talking, or way too soon prediction. We're talking about what's going to happen right now if nothing changes and everybody's healthy. If there's injuries, somebody gets traded, coaching changes, that's fine. But it doesn't matter. Like, that's different,
Yeah, we're talking today.
It is what it is. Like, don't worry about it. Like we're gonna do a show. What is it like? Are we gonna do a draft show? Maybe at least for the first.
Absolutely, round? We're doing a draft show. You can watch the draft live with us right here on Yards After the Catch. Don't miss us on draft day. Come weigh in. Come be on the show. We will be running draft day 1 live right here. So come join us.
And my Christmas tree might still be up on draft day. I don't know.
I love it. Why take it down?
But like, listen, we're gonna watch the draft and kind of talk about it, and then August sometime, we don't know. We're gonna maybe talk about draft strategies and all what we did before as our first year of being on the show, and year 2. I already said it a month ago, month and a half. I said I'm winning one league, at least one league next year.
There you heard it here, folks. Rube, there it is going to play in over 100 leagues next year to up his chances of winning a championship.
But yeah, I'm ready. I want to know who's on the downward, like the spiral, the stock drop. I have two, and we've already talked about one. Like, actually,
you can go obvious here, and obvious, Wilson is on the downgrade. I actually, everybody's waiting to see what Rodgers is going to do. I think Prescott is definitely on a downgrade right now because of the way the season finished. I think he's actually going to be a bargain pick next year because of that. Murray is questionable. I'll leave Murray out of it because we don't know what he's going to do right now. Another riser I got to mention is Jackson, because I think he's going to be healthy. But and Mac Jones, I think Mac Jones is a huge riser next year. And one more, Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan, because of that division, there's no competition left in that division. Matt Ryan can't do anything but succeed. But on the downgrade that you talked about, I think my number one guy, and I'm not saying he deserves it, but my number one guy is definitely Dak Prescott.
Dakota, what do you think? I know you're a huge Cowboys fan.
I'll definitely take a Dak Prescott. I'll take a Dak Prescott bargain every day because he's got weapons around him. I think he still puts up numbers regardless. But I think he's definitely.
The thing I worry about Prescott is the offensive line. Like, yes, 5 years ago, best offensive line in football, undebated. Those guys are all 5 years older now.
Absolutely.
And like Lael Collins was having a rough time this year. Who's the cat on the other side? Zach, whatever his name is, Zach Martin. He didn't look great to me this year. I mean, just one more year with that offensive line. They're aging. I don't know. Because I think, and going back to the Zeke thing, like that's what made Zeke really productive in his first couple of years, standing behind the Great Wall of Dallas. Like, what are you going to do?
How many years does Zeke have left in Dallas before they go ahead and cash him in?
Oh, they need to trade him now.
Yeah. Zero. He has zero. Tony Pollard is going to be the number one running back for that. I'm just go ahead and give a soft trade to Zeke somewhere, get something in return. Don't like try to get like what were they doing for what's his name? They're trying to get like 3 first rounds for that.
For Watson?
didn't play at all.
Yeah, for Watson. Watson's going to go. We're going to rapid fire some questions at the end of this. But we're talking downgrades right
I
now.
love rapid fire.
Let's finish up the downgrade conversation before we fly too far off. What is your downgrade route? There it is.
We've kind of already talked about it. Marquise Brown. He's going to play video games. Go for it. I'm all for it. Do whatever you got to do. Ezekiel Elliott, like I said, his backup had half the points he did, but that's not bell cow to me. And if you draft him in the first round, you deserve to lose. I don't care how good you think, Dallas offensive line is or was. He's barely third-round material to me. If he falls to me in the third round, yeah, I'll pick him. But I am not touching him in the first two.
Nope.
Just not going to do it.
Joe Mixon finishes number 4 PPR this year. Is he going to finish that high next year? 1,200 yards on the ground.
As long as he stays healthy, that line was bad this year, and he still got 1,200 yards.
Yeah. He had some injuries, and Samaje Perine filled in for him, and he's still in the mix. But I think he has a good chance of doing it, especially I think, listen, you know what the Bengals are doing right now? Which offensive linemen are we taking in the first round? That's what they're talking about in the office. The big guys.
Who can we get? Which veterans can we snipe off other teams? Yeah. Like, who's a free agent this year? Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to take a veteran over here. We're drafting a rookie over here. We're going to put some protection in front of Burrow. They have the wide receivers. They have a good defense. They have the running backs. They just have a little bit of everything. They just need just a little bit more. They'll be right back on the Super Bowl.
Burrow gets sacked over 50 times this year. Do you imagine the numbers he puts up without those 50 sacks? Holy crap.
25 times. 25.
They are going to do the exact same offseason the Chiefs did last year.
Yeah, you see it coming. Yeah, you see it coming.
Yeah.
So, look, Leonard Fournette finishes number 6. No more Tom Brady because that's 454 receiving yards on top of his 812 rushing. Leonard Fournette is a running back who's on the down slope for me. Alvin Kamara is somebody we're watching. This Cordell Patterson repeat at number 9. He only had 618 yards on the ground, but couple that with 6 touchdowns and 548 receiving yards. The guy's over 1,000 all-purpose. The guy's got 11 all-purpose touchdowns. I see him, even though I see Atlanta on the rise, I don't know if I see him as an individual being on the rise.
He just felt so fluky all year to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dude that picked up Cordero, I was like, okay, this is going to last 2 weeks and be done with. But it was so consistent till I guess kind of till the end. I don't think he had a great playoffs, but he just seemed so fluky to me.
Javonte Williams. Does Javonte Williams take over in Denver? We're kind of doing all the rapid fire now, but that's fine. Does Javonte Williams start taking over in Denver?
If they're smart.
Actually finished ahead of Melvin Gordon points-wise. Javonte Williams, 721. 903 on the ground for Javonte, 918 for Melvin. So pretty good split stat-wise. They're less than 10 points separated in PPR. Everybody's kind of waiting for Javonte to break out, but with them making a quarterback change and all that kind of stuff, they start making that transition. If presented on the board, you're in whatever round it is, and you have the choice between Javonte and Melvin, which one do you take?
I'm taking Javonte.
Probably
Javonte. He's younger and he's a better runner.
I'm taking Javonte all day myself.
I just want to know who in your league, Dakota, is going to be taking Cordell Patterson as a 30-year-old wide receiver running back, so I can invite them to a new league just so I know.
I want them in there too.
See, we usually do our draft I think usually we do our draft like a couple days before the initial Thursday night game. So I don't know if you'll have a whole lot of notice, but I'll let you know who does it.
That's how I like to do it too. Like just before the season starts, I want to know all the injuries before we get started.
Avoid all the preseason nonsense.
CEH has to fall way down for me. I didn't have any faith in him this year. I still don't have for next year. He's definitely. Does Cam Akers start to rise up? He got hurt. He didn't do a lot. Once he came back, I think he had a 2.7 yards per carry or something like that. But You've got Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers on a Super Bowl team with Kupp, with OBJ. They're a stacked team. Does Cam Akers go up your board?
I think so. To me, I think Cam will be the RB1 again next season, barring injury. I don't see them signing Sony Michel back, and he was there to cut into some of both of their workload. So I think it'll be back to just Cam and Henderson. And going into the season, I know McVay's plan was to make Cam like the locked-in bell count #1 running back. So as long as Cam is healthy, I think McVay's going to do the same thing. Hendo will just be there like as a fill-in if need, change of pace.
We see Roop taking notes here.
But Hendo was good in the Super Bowl. I will give him credit because
Hendo was fantastic. I was in the playoffs the whole time. I loved. Hendo was doing great.
And there's a reason I drafted Sony as high as I did. I've been calling for Sony Michel all season because I think he's a better running back than Hendo. But I will give Hendo credit. He had a tremendous Super Bowl.
He really did.
I traded Sony Michel away. I said, hey, listen. I was like, I will knock off, some money off of your next year's, payment if Sony Michel doesn't get 800 yards and like 4 or 5 touchdowns. I can't remember what it was. I said, he's going to do it. He's going to lead that backfield. And, I got the trade. But you know what? Like, Sony did great. He did exactly what I wanted him to do. I almost called it to a T. I don't know. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but it was really, really close. Sony Michel is not a bad running back. The fact that you say that he's going to be gone next year, I'm really surprised. I don't know if they would release him. I don't know if they're going to pay him. He's not going to get the big bucks or anything, but
to me, he had let's see, 845 and 4 touchdowns. Sony did.
So,
to me, there's so many other things the Rams have to worry about this offseason. I guarantee you Whitworth is going to retire. I don't think Whitworth's going to play again next season.
No, he definitely retires.
And Aaron Donald, I got a notification from Bleacher Report earlier, said Aaron Donald's coming back if they bring back OBJ and Von Miller. So all the pressure's on the Rams.
I think that's done. I think that's a done deal. I definitely think you hold that nucleus together. You pay what you need to and get one more run at it.
A repeat, yeah.
But because of all that money they have to spend, I think the casualty will end up being Sony Michel.
We're going 8 minutes left. Where's Rodgers going to be next year?
Green Bay or the Jeopardy stage?
Green Bay or Jeopardy?
Well,
what do you say?
Here's to that, but no, Green Bay, I'm saying.
You think Green Bay? I think somewhere else. I'm going to say somewhere else. Maybe Denver. I don't know. I think somewhere else. Wilson, is he still in Seattle next year?
Chicago Bear.
Oh, wow.
Seattle.
I'm going Pittsburgh.
Really? Over Fields? Really?
I think they make the deal for Fields.
I think Wilson goes to Pittsburgh. Or I think Wilson goes to Arizona. Is Murray still going to be in Arizona next year?
I think Murray stays.
Yeah.
I would love for the Cardinals to trade Murray out of the division and the Seahawks to trade Russell out of the division, but I think it's only going to be one of them. I think Russell moves.
Yeah, someone's wishing with this. I think Murray would be stupid to lose. They got Hopkins and tight end, help, wide receivers. Murray needs to just come back down to earth. This isn't high school. You're not going to win every game. Get in the game and get to work. That's it.
Yep, facts.
Last one, Garoppolo. Is Garoppolo still in San Francisco next year?
0% chance.
No.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're turning it over to Trey Lance or somebody else.
Yeah. I would take Trey Lance. Just the fact that he's a more diverse. Like he can run and he can still throw. He's still. What do you have? 1 interception in college? That's
something like 1 or 2.
So,
yeah,
I don't care.
Garoppolo has more rings than any active quarterback right now. Saw that today.
Brady. Shout out the GOAT.
Exactly. I definitely think. Honestly, he could end up in Pittsburgh. To be honest, which as a Steelers fan, I don't want to see that. But he could end up in Carolina as well. And I want you to think about this real quick, even though we're rapid fire. Does anybody but Atlanta win that division next year? You've got New Orleans. Think about it. You've got Carolina. Think about it. You got some other team that, Think about it. Does anybody but Atlanta win that division next year?
What if Tampa Bay gets Deshaun Watson?
Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy? We're it's on the list about where Watson. We'll jump a couple questions. Where does Watson go? Where does Watson land next year?
I get the two that I saw earlier today were Tampa Bay and Minnesota. Either one, that's a big upgrade for either one.
Absolutely.
You go from Tom Brady to Deshaun Watson. That's not fair. Like
that's
like the Packers going.
You're right. Yeah.
Not that they did anything with it, but that's the Packers going from Favre to Rodgers.
You're right.
There's too much controversy in Tampa Bay. I'm sure maybe he wants to go there. I think that'd be a great fit for Watson. That'd put Tampa Bay back there on top. I think the Saints could actually pull that off.
With a new head coach?
And possibly without Alvin Kamara?
See, when you lose too many people, it changes things.
This is why the question is there. Look, we're talking. I understand what I'm asking here. I'm talking about 80-year-old Matt Ryan. I'm talking about the only offensive weapon being Kyle Pitts, because we don't know if Ridley even is going to feel good enough to play, right? If he's going to have his head in the game. We don't know. Cordell is over 30. Mike Davis is Mike Davis. This is where the question comes in. But, you've got Carolina without a quarterback, getting rid of C-Mac. You've got New Orleans possibly without Kamara, a new head coach. And you've got Tampa right now without a quarterback and likely without Gronk if they don't get somebody that makes them happy.
If everything stays the way it does right now, I say it's Atlanta or Carolina, because Carolina does have a good defense.
Atlanta wins the division sub 500.
As it is right now. Oh, well, okay. I know your boy. Oh, God. Chris, your boy is going to say Trask and Tampa Bay is going to take over.
No. He's not ready.
Puke emoji.
I'm going to still say the Saints take the division. Not with confidence. I think that division is going to be like everybody's going to be like
up in the air. It's the NFC East, right?
Everybody's going to be like 8 and something or 9 and something or 7. Like it's just going to be like just battling. They're going to get a wild card spot and then they're going to lose. Like NFC South isn't going anywhere. Like I'm sorry. Like I don't.
Is Mac Jones that good?
The who?
Is Mac Jones that good?
Which division is he in?
AFC East.
AFC East. He's got New England. He's got Miami. I'm not even asking if they're going to win or anything. I'm just asking, is Mac Jones that good?
I think he fits the system.
He's got a good system. I don't think he's going to win it because Buffalo Bills probably will win. But I think he's going to be up at the top. Easy there, Rob. I know you want.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
I agree with him. I think Mac Jones is that good. I think he was the perfect replacement for Brady.
Didn't have to move up in the draft or anything.
Yeah, do nothing. Who is the guy? I hate doing this. Who's the EA Sports cover guy? Who's the C-Mac of next year? Who's the Henry of next year? Who is the big injury that nobody sees coming that's going to change the landscape?
Patrick Mahomes.
But it's funny you say that because he's my pick as well. He's the guy that has all the talent. He's the one everybody's counting on. He's the heir to the throne of Brady, and he's the guy I'm worried about. He is definitely the one. That's funny you say that. What do you think, Group 30 is?
Both went quarterback, like as the one that drops, like
I know, and it's usually a running back, right? So what are we doing? But I think
that's what I was getting a running back. I'm literally looking at a running back screen over here.
Yeah.
God, I don't even want to say it. No, I'm not going to go that.
I know you don't want to put that in, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I'm gonna say it because I'm biased against what somebody said. I'm gonna go. Jonathan Taylor is gonna get injured next year.
I could see it. I mean,
Sure.
They're gonna abuse. They're gonna abuse him like they did Derrick Henry, just like he said. And Dakota said, "Hey, Derrick Henry's injured. They're abusing him." Well, what do you think is happening to Jonathan Taylor? And
especially towards the end of the season.
Jonathan Taylor, 332 attempts. Next guy,
Oh
Najee with 307. Jonathan Taylor, 1,800 yards. Next guy, Najee with 12. Mixon with 1205.
Chill, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Serious,
no, Rob, stop. Cup is going off again. The dude has breakfast with Stafford every morning for like 3 hours.
It's a legit question. I'm gonna make it the last question because we just run out of time. But it does Cup repeat Triple Crown, maybe a bit much, but does Cup repeat as wide receiver 1 next year? It doesn't happen very often.
No,
I think he still finishes top 3. Maybe not 1. Yes. I can see 3.
I can see Chase taking it over. I can see that.
I can see him dropping. I can. The numbers could drop because if Woods is going to come back healthy, and if they do re-sign OBJ, that's 3 mouths he's got to feed, and you throw Higbee in the mix. So
I like it, and I think that's exactly the correct answer on that. Too many mouths to feed for Cup to be number 1 again. Top 3, I'm on top 5. He's definitely still there. Hey, everybody, thank you so much all season last year for joining Yards After the Catch. Thank you for joining us for the new season. We're going to be here. We're going to have more guests on. We appreciate you guys tuning in, making the comments, making the posts, making our job worth it because we do this all for you. Dakota Knicks, the great union of sports. Go check them out. Look them up on Facebook. I actually love their posts. They really put up some great content, so go check them out. The greatest co-host in all the land, Mr. Roop, there it is. It's show 1 of the next season. What do you got for us on the way out?
Listen, I know I've already started my mock drafts and everything like that because I'm way too paranoid and I'm probably going to mess the draft up anyway. But I'm looking forward to the real draft, coming late April, where we actually watch it together. And we'll watch it. That will be our next show, correct?
And who knows? We always say it's the last show and then we throw one up. But our next major project, yes, the one on the books right now is definitely Draft Day 1.
Okay, so that'll be our next show, and then we'll go and we'll probably go quiet and do some, yard work or something for a couple of months, and then head over and then start talking about some fantasy stuff in August. But listen, the season's never over. Like, sure, Super Bowl's over, but if you're not watching the news, watching those little tidbits of, Stafford and Cup eat breakfast together preseason, those are the changes that make your choices in a draft. And it doesn't start in August. It starts now. Who's traded? Who's the new coach? Who's the offensive coordinator? And pay attention because the college chaos is coming. We're going to make some picks. Just the drama that happened. There were so many upsets this past year. And fantasy football is coming. We're going to try and give you the best that we can. We're going to give you all the stats we can. My host is going to hold it down and all we have. And I guarantee you, we will do better next year because we love you guys so much. We work so hard for this, and we have so many outlets, especially with fans like Dakota coming in and talking. We really do appreciate you guys and all you do, and the great union of sports. Please go check them out. So many sports. It's not just fantasy football. It's not just football. It's basketball. It's baseball. It's everything. And they got everything over there. It's not just
hockey, Olympics. We do it all.
Yeah, so they got everything over there. So if you're a season, year long of just all these sports, you just trickle from one to the next, go over there and check them out. And host, go ahead and take us out.
Hey, you said it right there. We went over 80% this year. We're going even higher for next year. Tuning in to Yards After the Catch. We do the work and we do it for you because we want you guys to succeed. For Dakota Knicks, the great union of sports, for Mr. Roop, there it is. We are here. It is the new season. We're going to rock it out. Join us for live on draft day. Weigh in your thoughts and be there next year because we're bringing it and we want you guys to bring it too. It's Yards After the Catch along with the great union of sports. We're glad you could join us. Rob Machado, play us out. Reverb Nation, go check out his stuff, download it. Thanks for joining us, guys. we'll see you in just a few weeks. Draft day. Wow. See you guys. Be safe out there.
Ready.
What's up? Thanks, Rob.